Hello everyone and welcome to episode 29 of the Time In podcast. Today we have another guest episode. We are joined by Valhalla, also known as James. Would you like to say hello, James?
Hello.
Not bad, man. How are you?
Yeah, not bad considering the year, eh?
Yeah.
It's been mental.
It's been an interesting one. And I am joined by my co-host, Bundy.
Hello, what is happening?
Not much, mate. Not much at all. So yeah, before we get into all things Valhalla related, Bundy, would you give us a little plug for Rogue Energy, please?
Rogue Energy, you mean the best energy drink out there?
The best.
I understand. So, basically, what you do, right, is you go into www.rogueenergy.com. You pick a flavour that you like, you add it to your basket. While you're at that checkout, you use code TIMEINPODCAST for 10% off. It doesn't matter if it's £1 or £100 or $1 million, you're just getting 10% off, all right? I don't know that for sure, but still, I'm saying it. And you're going to get your 10% off. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to then say to me,
You're going to like it.
Bundy, I'll tell you what, by the way, this is absolutely amazing. I have been pinging for 4 days and I've cracked every head in Warzone. I've beat every single enemy and won every gunfight. And I'll say, listen, Rogue Energy, man.
Thank you for that plug, Bundy. I'll go into our second sponsor. Our second sponsor is Crusoe Rum. I went to find a bottle downstairs, but I've drank all. So that's not the best, but yeah, Crusoe Rum is from the guys at London Distilling, based within Fife in Scotland. They are an independent distillery, not only manufacturing gin, but now in the rum category. The liquid as itself is very, very sweet and delicate, so it's not only good in a cocktail or with a mixer, but it's actually very good on its own. Almost a hit flask rum, you could say. If you're into that sort of grungy, rocky, Sons of Anarchy branding, it's well worth checking out. You'll find all the links in our bio. And I think it's £30 at the moment. Free delivery to UK as well. Ian's been a good mate of mine, helped us out, and yeah, check him out. And if you do check him out, tell him we sent you. So
it's Christmas as well. So
it's Christmas.
Whether it be Rogue Energy or Crusoe, get your Christmas presents in.
Get the Christmas presents in. What were you saying, James?
I'm just saying it's also suitable for pirates.
Correct. There you go. Suitable for pirates.
Pirate friendly.
That's a good question, actually, Craig. Are you drinking any in the night?
No.
What does he usually say?
Aye, I'm fat as fuck now. Like, it is ridiculous how big I've gotten, and it's just no more alcohol. We usually ask every week, what are you drinking? But that we've moved the way in which we record. We used to always do it on a Friday evening, so we're all having a beer and stuff, and we've moved it to Mondays. So yeah, it's from
drinking, or supposedly.
Well, supposedly, but we'll see. But just to give a bit of background, obviously I'll let James touch on this a bit more. James has been, how long has it been, James? You've been doing this since what, the ages of 11?
Since 11.
So yeah. DJing almost. Since 11 and then producing since 12?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Madness. Absolute madness. Brilliant to hear. But rather than me go into it, do you want to give us a little bit about where the journey began, what got into music? Just a bit of a basic background of what got you to the point you're at now.
Who is Valhalla?
Exactly. Who is Valhalla? And where does he live?
It's funny you should say that because my uncle Nils Arne from Norway, he was doing this interview with me, and he was going to come over to Scotland this year. Obviously lockdown happened, but he was supposed to come over and just sort of document the album and stuff. And he sent me like a little intro, and the start it was like, who the fuck is James Cowie? Like James Cowie? Who the fuck is James Cowie? Like, I was like, what the fuck is that? But it's just my uncle's humour. Where did it all start? I mean, I've always been musically minded ever since I can remember. Took keyboard lessons about the age of 7. Guitar lessons as well, although I kind of learned more guitar in my adult age kind of lost interest with that one. But yeah, summer of 2002, I worked all throughout the summer and kind of just grabbed every single bit of money that I could and saved up for a pair of decks, and that's kind of where it started. Old vinyl decks as well, so mixing my records.
Awesome.
Yeah. Then the year after, I started learning how to produce. I used Fruity Loops, have done from the start. And then my musical journey, what I started with was happy hardcore, bonkers.
I remember it, mate.
You know what I mean? Got my first residency at 14 After Dark in Kirkcaldy, a local club here. We'd have done the under 18s for quite a few years.
What was the one you done in the Rofus Halls, remember? Do you remember you done that as well?
The alcohol-free under 18 nights.
Yes. Glory days.
Are we saying that
Shit,
alcohol-free?
You get breathalyzed at the door. Fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no such thing as alcohol-free in Fife, Bundy.
I don't think so.
I don't think there's much alcohol-free in Scotland.
Yeah, that's probably a fair point as well, mate. Awesome, mate. I can remember it when we were younger. James and I went to school together, and he's always been passionate about it. So it shows you how long you've been doing it. But I wanted to touch on your first sort of alias, and that's Urban Atmosphere. So can you tell us a bit about what Urban Atmosphere is? What was it you were doing with it at the time? Because obviously you've progressed a bit from where you are now.
I've also had a lot of shit DJ names like to start with.
Go on then, hit us with the best ones.
In primary 7, right, because this is when I had that vision for, like, I was an early age, I was like, primary 7, I was like, I'm going to be called Raveland James. That's going to be my name. Raveland James. I never stuck with that one. Like, DJ X, fucking Venom.
DJ X, brilliant.
Venom. Like, what the fuck? It sounds like some sort of fucking colour you would get for martial arts charts or something. I don't know. But I settled with Urban Atmosphere. Urban Atmosphere kind of is like, urban's like a populated area, and the atmosphere in a populated area. So it was kind of like a technical name for a crowd that you get at raves. That was my idea. But like I said, I started with UK hardcore, sort of happy hardcore stuff. I ventured then on to even like the hard dance, hard house stuff that was almost sounding kind of donk stuff. Oh my god! And a little bit of that, just a little. Then, as well as that, I done trance. I did do a little bit of techno under Urban Atmosphere, but it wasn't. It was just sort of playful. I was just dipping my hand in a lot of different genres and sort of learning along the way as well, because every genre, when you're producing it, they all have different techniques, different sort of structures and different sounds as well. So it's throughout those years I've learned so much just about the sounds and how everything's layered, and yeah, there's a lot to it, and I find it interesting. But the reason I went to change, like, for an alias, this Valhalla, was because I noticed I was more like drawn to rhythms and sort of percussion, more the groove. That's why, hence Groove Shack.
Groove Shack,
yeah. But more the groove. So it was like, especially with house and techno, it's a sort of, those genres are a bit more tasteful. So it's like, it just separates my other stuff to, like, right, I'm more serious about this now. You know what I mean? Rather than I'm handing all different things, rather than staying at one sort of genre and just perfecting that one. It was more the journey, I think, with Urban Atmosphere. I just wanted to play everything. You know?
See, the big thing I noticed, I've obviously done a bit of homework since speaking to you, and I can remember your older stuff. And listening to the stuff you do now, like, a lot of people talk about trance, that I know that's probably not the right term, because there's so many different genres, but people kind of generalise this music theme, and they say it all sounds the same, but you can quite clearly tell an Urban Atmosphere track to a Valhalla track, and I almost get, like, you're talking about percussion and stuff, I almost get this sort of clan, sort of upbeat, sort of warrior style music with obviously the industrial side behind it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a track from the album called Thor's Hammer, and
It
it's
says
like,
it all, doesn't it?
you close your eyes, it's like it's going to war tune. Like, you know what I mean? Even got like an evil growl, which is like, I just picture like a Viking, you know what I mean? Before the drop and stuff. But yeah, no, I would agree with that totally.
Yeah.
See, it's cool
for
though
it,
because I think like I didn't really think of many DJs or anyone like that really at all that have embraced like a culture or like a do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's no one that's really turned in and went, oh, do you know what? I'm going to do this. There's a lot of stuff in terms of like countries that have their own style of music and stuff that and they can embrace that, which is cool. Obviously, you've got like Jamaican music, obviously a lot of reggae, but you've also got like a lot of kind of like dance and stuff for that kind of side as well. But I think that Norway is no one I would have guessed. So having that like kind of like not even just Norway, but that kind of like Nordic, Icelandic, whatever you want to call it, kind of like twist on it is just quite cool because it's something that is a bit kind of grizzly, a bit cool, and to put that with music like what you've done is just really quite smart.
Yeah, I think you look at a country like Norway, which is a fairly small country, but it's got such a strong identity with that Nordic background. And I think the fact that you've played on that with your heritage, which I'm going to get into in a little second, gives you more of a sort of brand. Do you know what I mean? It's something that people relate with. Like DJ James, do you know what I mean? There's not much to it, but Valhalla, you've got a full brand there, and it all comes together, which I think is really cool. Which is obviously what Bundy's touching on. So you want to? Obviously, you're not fully Scottish. Do you want to touch on your roots and tell us a bit about it?
Scottish. My mum's Norwegian, so I'm a crossbreed. No, but yeah, I just kind of thought when I was trying to think of a name and stuff, lots of folk were like, "You should totally go with your Norwegian roots, go Odin or like this," and lots of things. Like for me, it has to have a ring to it. And for ages, I went through loads of names and nothing was sticking. But I wanted it to represent me. You know what I mean? To represent who I am and my culture, and as well, like you're saying. One day it was like about like in the warrior sort of music, you know what I mean, having that gelling into each other. I think it just made sense. It made sense. Valhalla, it's like the hall of music in my eyes, you know what I mean.
No, it's a really good link when you think about Valhalla. Obviously, it's heaven. It's heaven too.
Viking stuff going about right now. I mean, even like there's Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's like
I'll help you, mate. Just put hashtag Valhalla and all your stuff, and you're like, oh. No, that's awesome, man.
It's also why I'm calling the album DNA, because it's like it's everything that represents me. This has come from the heart. This album, like this is everything. I've not tried to copy anyone. I've just when I went into the studio, it's come completely from me. I've maybe you know what I mean, you get your influences and stuff, but I'm not trying to copy anyone. I'm trying to make my own sound, make my own stamp on techno, make my own stamp on house as well. And that's the idea. That's the idea.
I think
it's cool as well. Sorry,
go for it, mate. Jump in.
I was going to say it's cool as well because obviously, like in terms of like the Valhalla, obviously, like you said, you've got like another song called Thor's Hammer, which is quite cool because obviously it's not having Valhalla. If you were just to have Valhalla and then have like a track called say like Groove Shack Beat, do you know what I mean? You'd be like, oh, why is this guy called Valhalla? Exactly. So like tying in things like and I think of like a song called Thor's Hammer, and I think, oh, I like somebody who's maybe at the gym wanting to work out. Thor's Hammer sounds like a bit of like a beast mode song. Do you know what I mean? So like 100%. It's got that kind of like vibe to it. So, but then you might have like I don't know. You could even have like your Mindir song or something like that, where it's almost like a song that's got like a kind of like peaceful vibe to it because it's like the world serpent and all that kind of stuff. So there's so much that you can like kind of dive into and take from as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, it just fits with the brand. Like, you don't think Thor's Hammer as an example and think this is going to be a really, really good blues track. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be in your face. It's going to be in your face, but
it's like, and that you can feel free to steal this, right? Don't worry about it. But if you had a song, say it's called like Fenrir's Howl, right? You think to yourself like the wolf, right? And you're like, oh, this is going, and then you could tie in like almost like that kind of like. You don't need to feel like a howl, but like kind of it would be like almost like kind of like a higher pitched kind of like drop almost, and then you'd be like, oh, this is literally fucking Fenrir's Howl. Like this is so cool. Do you know what I mean? This is, like if I could imagine being in Valhalla, just a bunch of absolute Vikings and like in a longboat, like, and then just like techno.
Oh, brilliant! Man. Sometimes I don't even know what. Do you know what? I don't even know what to say anymore. But if you would, if you've got any more ideas, Bundy, I'm sure you and James can get in touch. he is making sense because it's that relatability. If someone recognises something and creates a connection straight away, they go Valhalla, Odin, straight away they think Norwegian, sort of that sort of vibe. So straight away you've got that connection. Like when we started up, we tried different names, we tried different branding, and everybody was like, "What the fuck is this? Like, how does this relate to what we do?" So yeah, it's such an important thing.
Well.
Say again, mate.
So it's good to have something to play on, like a theme to play on.
Yeah,
gives you more ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go for it, Bundy.
And it's like it's one of the few things, like Craig said, that like Norway's not a massive country, right? But there's so much history, it's so well documented, right? But then it's like I don't know if I've mentioned to you, but I'm really into my history and stuff like that, right? And there is who was a king of Norway called Elric Bloodaxe, right? That screams I'm cool as fuck, right? I mean, so like, and it's like that. Like, if I seen a song called Elric's Bloodaxe, I'd be like, "What?" Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, "This is going to be wild." Like, and it's cool because you could have an album totally like that, right? Or you could have it where it's like you're kind of going through and it's just really cool song names, or you could tie it so like the music itself is kind of what are you saying?
I was just saying, look, don't get me wrong, it's passed my mind quite a few times, like having a music video with shitloads of fucking Vikings, techno stomping, like techno Viking style, you know what I mean?
Literally,
well, talking about that, you are slowly converting into a Viking. Like, for anyone that knew you when you were younger, you were the most normal-looking little kid, and now you're like full on. Well, you were just like a normal-looking kid. Do you know what I mean? And now I see you, and you're like, you've got the top not tied back, and you've obviously got the beard, and you've bulked out a bit. You're obviously transitioning into Valhalla fully these days, which is cool as well.
I'm in Valhalla, yeah.
That's a good thing as well, right? Because like, see, just say for example, right? Say one of my mates was like, "Oh, listen, do you want to go and see Valhalla?" Right? It's this guy, and he's absolutely unreal. I'd be like, "All right, cool, sound, let's do it." Right? And if I walked in and I seen me standing there, right, I'd be like, "Who the fuck is this guy, Valhalla?" What? But if I see you standing there, I'm like, "Where's his axe?" Do you know what I mean?
Like, you know, is it Marvel's? The actual Thor's hammer and it glows up and that. I've actually a few times and thought I could take that out, and I was like, nah.
But that's it, like, it doesn't like. There's so much, right? You could literally imagine it would be so cool, right? And I know this is going to be like this is a wild statement for me, right? But you can imagine, right? So you get people that are like massive DJs, right? Or like Daft Punk are really well known for it, where their like stage and like the props and stuff are like really, really cool and really, really like, futuristic and stuff, right? But can you imagine like headlining like a festival and you're instead of like where your deck sits, it's a longboat. Do you know what I mean? Imagine that. It's so cool. Like,
I think you should commission Bundy, James.
That on the front. I could see that. Right?
That's what I mean. It would just be.
Valhalla.
Instead of the lassie dancers and like the normal like neon stuff, it's just like they've just got like the breastplate like that's like, you know, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a bra, and it's like tiny wee furry pants, and they've just got two axes that are swinging about and dancing.
Oh my word! Welcome to the Time In podcast, James.
These can happen.
Things can
These
happen.
can happen, mate.
Oh, dear. I think that's a good point to pause for this week's streamer feature. So, this week's streamer feature, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Malvis. I started Twitch streaming relatively recently in the last couple of months, and I focus on a subset of games that are, well, people would call them indie games, I suppose, roguelites, but I'm trying to branch out into a variety of different things.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Malvis. So I think you've touched on it already. So is it just Twitch you stream as a platform?
Yes, so I'm just starting out on Twitch. I'm looking to kind of expand as time goes on, but I'm trying to chip in away at this between my full-time job as a researcher and as an academic. So I'm trying to integrate the two things a bit.
It'd be quite a job to balance them, I imagine.
Yeah, it started out because I found I was kind of interested in doing some outgoing activities, what with the coronavirus and everything like this going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I wanted to do some more engagement and I wanted to do some more activities. And this is something that can kind of continue on after that. So I'm hoping to balance it through, balance. I'm in control of my work balance and I can be in control of this as well, I think.
Yeah. Is that the main reason why you started streaming?
Well, I saw some Twitch streamers doing it, and I thought this looked like a lot of fun. And I realized I had a little bit of time that I could spend on this, and basically, that's kind of how I fell into it.
Brilliant. I think you've touched on it already, but what sort of games can you expect on your Twitch channel?
And so I could be a bit more specific. At the moment, I'm playing a lot of Into the Breach.
Okay.
I've done a bit of Spelunky too, and I'm thinking of bringing that back into the fore a bit more. But I'm also thinking of branching out into a bit of Dark Souls 3 Invasions, because I did a bit of that, and that's quite fun, and it engages people, and it generates a lot of conversation. And that's kind of the theme I want for my channel, is people talking about what's going on and interacting with me. So games where it makes people think, and games where it makes people react are kind of the broad strokes descriptions of what's going on.
No, that's a great description. And if you're playing Dark Souls, be sure that Craig and Bundy will be there, as he's a massive fan.
Oh, nice, yeah.
He absolutely loves it. I think it's his favourite game series. But moving on, and you've touched on this a little bit. Tell us a bit about your channel and any sort of community or goals you're working towards.
So, as I was saying, my channel is quite new. It's started in the last few months. My goal at the moment, a lot of people come into Twitch with kind of meta goals of I want X viewers or I want to hit partner and things like this. My goals are a little more kind of analog. What I'm interested in is making friends, meeting new people, and getting people chatting. Less so about the numbers, but more so about kind of growing myself and my abilities as a streamer and as a conversationalist. And that kind of carries over into my work a lot because, I travel apart from coronavirus, I travel for conferences and I deliver talks. I also teach students. And there's quite a lot of interaction there. And I want to try and develop that skill as well in a different setting. Yeah. So it's more about skill development as opposed to hitting numbers for me, for now. Anyway.
I think that's cool. No, I think that's really cool, to be honest, because like us, we were very novice and we jumped into this having little to no experience. And we've learned over time, like you always do, but we put a big push into numbers focus, hitting affiliate, and we've discussed this in the past, and it's, you can push to get that affiliate status, but if you push that from friends, etc., they don't really stay for the content afterwards, and if you naturally build a group of people who enjoy your content, that's a lot more powerful than saying, I hit affiliate and I average 20 views. Doesn't matter if the 20 views aren't doing anything and not integrating with you, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't, part of it is enjoyment. If enjoyment for you is naturally and organically developing a community, then that is definitely the best way to approach Twitch, in my opinion. Because as with many things in like career development, you always want to do things in a way that you enjoy what you're doing, because you'll look back once you get there and realize, actually, that's not the way I wanted to do it. And I wish I'd done it this way, or you get regrets, for example. So developing a community organically, I think, is the way to go, at least for me. But everyone's different. some people will prefer the other approach, but the viewers may not stick around. So it's something to be aware of, I think.
So, the big question we always ask, if you could have one famous person to join you on your stream, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
This one was a bit tricky for me. So I kind of narrowed it down to two, so I thought I'd cheat and answer twice. One person, and this might be a bit cliche, one person I'd quite like to meet in the context of a stream is James Clerk Maxwell.
Okay.
I don't know if any of your viewers actually know who that is. I don't know. He's a famous physicist. You can read about him on Wikipedia and this kind of thing. And the reason I'd like to meet with him is because he, in his youth and as time passed, he was very analytical. He's a very good kind of person for analyzing situations. And that kind of person is quite good to talk to and juxtaposes well with my personality, I think. I think we'd have a good time and good chats. My secret second answer would probably be another streamer.
Okay.
If only just to kind of get advice and discussions. When I started, I started watching videos on YouTube, decades ago.
Yeah.
And I started following Ryan Letourneau, Northern Lion, and I think we've got quite a good personality match.
Okay.
So I'd quite like to have a chat with him and interact with him in a streaming context. I think that would be quite fun. But that's maybe a bit of a pipe dream. Who knows?
You never know. You might be looking back and going, I'm pretty sure I done a feature on a podcast. And I said I'd play with you one day, but you just never know.
Well, if it does happen one day, I'll buy you a beer.
There you go. There's a deal. I'll hold you to that. Just finally, Malvis, final plug. Where can people find you? What's the best way to get in contact with you, etc.? Just plug away.
Right, so the best place, absolute best, is twitch.tv/Malavus, Malavous. I also have a Discord, which will hopefully be linked to this video, but you can also find that in the description of my channel. And that's a good place to go if you want to talk to me or get live notifications of me going live or discussions around the content that I stream.
Brilliant.
That's all the socials I've got.
Nice and easy. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you, and hopefully we'll do some more stuff together in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for including me and having me on the podcast.
No problem at all. So that was this week's streamer feature. Going back to all things Valhalla. James, tell us a bit about the label Groove Shack, because we lost touch for quite a long period of time, and when we kind of came back into each other's lives. Makes it sound like we were old lovers.
What?
Yeah. Well, Groove Shark was totally new to me. Obviously, I knew about the DJ side. Where did Groove Shark come about, and tell us a bit about it?
Okay, well, when I actually started this album, this was 3 years ago, and I was still Urban Atmosphere then.
Yeah.
Changing the alias hadn't even crossed my mind. And the album started off, the idea was, because I like all these different styles of music and within dance, I was like, I'm going to make an album that's got all those different types in one album and somehow tie it all together, which I thought was a great idea. But then I noticed, like I was saying, I was more magnetically drawn to like these rhythms and percussion and stuff. And then it just kind of, there was tracks there that just got put aside and just went house and techno. But Groove Shack, the name, this is what I call the Groove Shack, which is basically a 12 by 12 fully insulated shed in the bottom of my garden that I've called the Groove Shack. So, but that's where the Groove Shack came from. But I thought it was quite a good name for the label, because it's not narrowing it down to sounding like it's just techno, or it's just grooves. So that's kind of where the idea came about.
Do you have other people on the label, or is it just yourself? Have you brought some friends onto it?
Yeah, I've got some friends on. So I've got my friend Colvin Morrison, Steve Allen, head honcho of Perversity, who took me on so many amazing gigs. So Gus Stewart as well. He got me playing in Magaluf, doing a tour with Perversity. Liquid Rooms in Edinburgh as well. We've done a few nights in there, which are probably like best nights that I've ever played at. And even through that, I went to Magaluf the following year, which is where I was going to propose to my now wife Kerry. And we went to BCM one night, and one of the guys that Gus knew that got us all the gigs over there, he was playing in BCM, and he was like, "You got your tunes with you?" And I was like, "No, but I can go and get them." He was like, "Go and get your tunes, I'll get you on." And I was like, "Fucking BCM." Yes. Literally ran back to my hotel, come back and fucking played to it was one of the, it's like, don't know, bathroom parties or something. It's like showers and fucking foam and shit. Washing machine parties, that's what it's called.
Washing machine party, there you go.
Aye.
I thought that's when you sat in a washing machine, but maybe that's another story.
Well, whatever you do in your spare time, Craig.
That's true. I'm gonna pass over to Bundy because I know Bundy's our gig expert, as he's shared many gig stories in the past that I touched on with you prior. But Bundy, do you want to fire into gig experience with James?
I mean, there's gig experiences that we could talk about. Gig experiences
Nah, just
we
go
can't
for
talk
it.
about.
Fucking go for it.
I would say I was going to talk about BCM, right? But that really can't be talked about, right? I enjoyed it. We'll leave it at that, right? But like you said, like obviously, like when I'm at a gig, I'm never the one playing the music. Do you know what I mean? I'm always the one that's listening. I've got a drink in my hand. I'm having a good time, right? But when I'm at a gig, I'm at like with my mates or whatever, and I'm kind of like, you're in your own kind of bubble. You'll still speak to people and whatever that are there, but like you can be in a gig and not know that somebody that you know from school or maybe from out with kind of like your social network is like at the other side of the room. You can go the whole night not know they're there, right? So that is quite interesting to me because you are seeing everyone, right? Obviously, you must have seen like fights or that kind of stuff. But question: what is just the most wild thing, or just the weirdest thing in general, or just some unusual that you've ever seen? Because I feel like there's going to be a lot.
Every single time you're going to laugh at this. My wife.
Hopefully, she's not listening.
Honestly, I'll have to show you pictures at some point. Basically, she just gets these ideas to just put things on. So, like, middle of the green side, like middle of my set, and the next thing, here comes my wife with fucking duct tape across her brow, like a big fucking monobrow, and she's got like she's got a cone on her head and everything. It's like, oh my days, just totally here. I laugh, man. It's class. But apart from that, nah, you kind of see it all.
I can imagine that there's going to be obviously a lot in terms of things that would usually happen at kind of most concerts and gigs. Like I can imagine there'll obviously be like, you know, the old let's piss in a cup and throw it and all that kind of nonsense. Do you know what I mean? But I just feel like it would be so weird to be standing where you stand and see it, because like I would imagine you'd be like, this guy's a dick, or like this guy's cool. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, it's like, yeah, it's quite funny like watching, because you get some people with rhythm, some people who are totally off, and then you get some people. You know what is like quite sad though is like gigs back in the 90s and stuff. You didn't see any phones. Nowadays, everyone.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Everyone's total like. I mean, you see it. It's a sea of cameras or a sea of phones, and it's like, just enjoy the moment, soak it up. You know what I mean? Live in that moment, and that's what new gigs I've missed.
It's kind of weird to say that as well, because like I remember like going to a couple of different festivals. Like I've even like I listened to just about anything, been to Download, been to Reading, Leeds, been to Tea in the Park and that kind of stuff. And I remember not a single time did I ever think to myself, "Where's my phone?" Do you know what I mean? like I just forgot it even existed, because I was either too drunk or just didn't care. And
right, too.
It's interesting because you see people, right, and they go to not even just festivals, gigs as well, and they're there because like they want to like be known as like, oh, you know, I'm cool, I'm going to go and see Groove Jet. You know what I mean? It's like all that kind of stuff. Like, and it's like, look, listen, like you're going to go and you're going to stand there with a face like thunder. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to pose for a picture, post it on your Instagram or whatever, be like, Valhalla, like, do you know what I mean? Like, no, get your shit away, right? Like, bolt. So,
Christ.
do you find that you get a lot of that, or is it more just people that are just wanting to be there and have a good time?
Mostly it's people want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly want to be there. But I've been to gigs where it's like a rave in Ingleton, and the guy was like, I didn't even like this. Like, I didn't even like this music. And I'm like, why are you here? Like, what's the deal there? You know what I mean? I didn't understand that. I don't know why. Like, I didn't get it.
Another thing that interests me as well, right? So I think obviously you got a lot of bigger DJs, right? I know people like the bigger DJs. What is your opinion on David Guetta?
Well, have you seen that video at Tomorrowland's where he total zones out?
No.
If you haven't,
no.
God, he's just sitting there like, like the track's just gone, and he's just not a clue. I didn't even have a clue where he is, what he's doing. But David Guetta, I mean, hats off to him. You know what I mean? Like, he's better than that Steve Aoki. I'm not caring that boy, but that's just my my preference, jumping my boot and throwing cakes at folk.
See, the reason I ask, right, is because when you think like when the average person says DJ, right, or they think of DJs, it's names like Steve Aoki, David Guetta, all that kind of stuff that would come to mind, right? But with me, right, somebody says DJ and I think Cammy. Right?
Oh no,
Like,
don't get him started.
Oh, Ken, something that is like one of the bits that I'm embarrassed to be Scottish about, because that is a total Scottish thing. Like,
I know, that's what I was going to say, because that's the thing.
I was a DJ back then, and it used to piss me off because I was like, they're no DJing. They're not even making their own songs. They're like literally just going, it's fucking me, man. Ken, that was fucking mix, man. Let's fucking go.
Can we all agree? Can we all agree that 2006 was the best for UK6 in the mix?
but that's the thing, right? Because like, I just think it's so wild, right? Because there is just like, I spoke to so I was on holiday, right? I was on a cruise ship, and there was these folk, and they're like, oh, do you like DJ music and that? And I was like, I like some, but not a lot of it, right? And they were like, oh, what about like David Guetta? What about this? And I was like, oh, it's alright. And then they were like, you said that you like pretty much everybody that was said, and I like, who do you know? Like, and I was like, didn't really like DJ Cammy or that, to be honest with you, but maybe. And they were like, who? And I was like, oh wait, you're looking at this, why? And I don't know why, right? But see, because it's something that literally every single person has heard at some point in Scotland. Yeah. It's quite funny because when I think for anyone out here listening that's in the UK in general, actually, say DJ, you automatically think of these kind of people, right? But I think that DJs are more kind of versatile and like a lot more kind of, what's the best word for it? A lot more hardworking and like better than people think, because DJs get a lot of stick for being in a nightclub and you could have your songs and your mixes of songs, whatever, and somebody's like, oh, they're just pressing play. It's like, mate, like, I can guarantee you that's not what's happening. Do you know what I mean?
Look at the development of pop music. Look at pop music. Pop music has turned into that. Would you not agree?
Yeah. I mean, you can say any Usher, fucking Justin Bieber track there's been a DJ there, or a producer that's been within the EDM scene, as they call it now. But yeah, it's become a massive part of pop now.
Because obviously you've got your like Ultra Music Festival and all that kind of stuff, and then you've got like obviously like other festivals that are kind of big for like DJs and stuff. You've obviously got really big DJs out there who are more like popularized in terms of like the way they make music, and the music that they make is more pop than I would say than like your average DJ. Like, so I think it's interesting because I think if someone listened to your music and then went and listened to, again, for example, somebody like David Guetta, they would find quite a difference. But it's more because I think that a lot of these DJs, as they're calling themselves, aren't really DJs anymore. They're just pop artists. They might still be doing the same kind of thing, but you're probably easier to call yourself, you know, a pop artist at this point.
Yeah, totally. 100% agree. I mean, you've got different levels. It's like you get the underground dance scene where it's really where techno came from. You know what I mean? Bunkers, disused warehouses and everything back in the 90s. Like it was proper underground. I mean, back then it was frowned upon. It was like, that's druggy music. Like, you know. I remember my mum, right? Like the first dance CD that I had. It wasn't even mine. It was my mum's, right? And it was like something like All Saints, but on the single, I had like a dance remix, right? And I played this over and over because it was the only dance song that was in the house, right? And I remember her coming through, and obviously everything on the news at that point was just all raves, drugs, and everything. She come through and was like, "You can't listen to that. That's druggy music."
A few weeks later, Mum, I want to be a DJ.
Later on, I was like, but that was like, fucking let him listen to it.
Not your sellout, boys.
He's only 5-year-old.
It's funny though, right? Because I feel like that kind of music is probably one of the more kind of like frowned upon music styles, and I don't really understand why. I think that and rap, like the people who are in like pop, rock, and that kind of stuff, they can almost do no wrong in certain people's eyes. But it's like if I was to say to your average, you know, like woman, Catherine at 45, and be like, "Oh, listen, Kathy, I'm going to go to the sub club. Do you want to come down?" Do you know what I mean? Like she'd be like, "Oh no, I'm not going there. That's full of drugs and that. You know, I'm not going." And do you know what? She might be right in certain circumstances, but I think like all these people are just totally missing the point, and it's still got that stigma attached to it. I know a boy from my work, and he absolutely loves it. He'll go. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do anything at all. He goes and he just enjoys the experience. And I think he's in his late 40s, and he says he's always trying to go as much as he possibly can. He's into, to be fair, he's into like anger fist and stuff like that. So it's a bit hardcore. But
back then, even made a few myself. But no, you're totally right.
See, what I was going to touch on was that like people are really bad for stereotyping music, me being one of them. And it's people like, "Oh, I don't like trance music," whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to generalize it as. How many people go to the gym, spin classes, which I'm going to touch on in a second, and come out and go, "Yeah, you need that music for working out." Fucking everyone has listened to that sort of music at some point and went, you don't go to the gym and go, "Right, some Michael Bublé on, here we go." Do you know what I mean? Like for me,
sitting there doing a bench press, it's beginning to look
like Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Like people are like, "Oh, I don't like that sort of music," but they absolutely love it in the gym. It's just
what Callum was saying as well. Like if you were to go into the sub club, right, never been to rave before, right, and have an open mind, you would get the most hugs pre-COVID, obviously. You would get the most hugs ever from the most strangers in sub club than if you were to go, say, to your local club where they play pop music and everyone's drinking and whatever. There'll be fights left, right, and centre. You hardly ever see a fight in a rave. You know what I mean? And when you're saying about rock, like the rock can't do no wrong and stuff, I mean they've got mosh pits and walls of death. Like that's
exactly.
They want to kill each other.
They're all right. You know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but that's okay. It's only rave that's all about the drugs. Like, nah.
And it's wild, right? Because like it's like what you just said, right? Somebody can be like, "Oh, you know, a wall of death, you know, that's all right." But there's literally, like, look at Slipknot, for example, right? The lead singer, or maybe it was actually one of the guitarists, I'm not too sure, but one of them jumped into the crowd at one point, and because of the spike on his mask, actually impaled a guy, right? And they were like, "Slipknot being Slipknot," and I was like, "What?" I was like, can you, like, even if it was somebody that was like, you know, like say Tiesto. Imagine Tiesto had a mask on, jumped in and impaled a body, right? They'd be like, "Tiesto, you're done." Do you know what I mean? Like,
no more
that's wild.
Totally, 100%.
I've now noticed, for anyone watching live on Twitch, this was a bad day to wear an AC/DC rock T-shirt.
No, I will say that in terms of genres of music, I'm not going to lie, rock is probably my favourite. But
See, I love
It's just it's one of the ones where I just think it's mad that like all these other genres and stuff can kind of do what they want and say what they want and stuff like that. But as soon as anything's mentioned in dance, house, EDM, techno, but happy house, hardcore, all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, oh my god, that's so bad. You know what I mean?
Rave life matters.
Oh no! Oh no!
The thing that I don't
Oh,
think
no.
actually helped though, right? So obviously, again, this is more kind of like UK centralized, right? But I also don't think that I don't know if you ever went. I'm assuming you probably did go to them, but do you remember the foam parties and stuff? And you used to have the neon parties. That didn't help. That was. See, looking back and you see pictures and it's like just Wayne's literally kids in a foam party, and it's like, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, and I think it's one of the things where like a lot of people look back and they're like, oh, that.
I actually have a
cringe.
story for that, and
Right.
me being a supportive friend when we were younger. Obviously, I've always been a big rockhead. I used to go to a lot of James's gigs and stuff. We all did. We had a good group of friends then, and I'll never forget. He took us to After Dark, was the name of it at the time, and there was quite a big DJ playing, and it was Dean Van Dahl, which famously sings "Castles in the Sky," really big song. And I remember James was like, "Craig, come here." He said, "Come meet," and he never said her name, and I was like, "All right." And she was just like, "Hello," and I'm just looking at her, and I'm like, "All right." I was like, "Who the fuck's this, James?" And she's like, "Oh, I mean Van Dahl," and I was like, "Who?" And then James was like, "Fuck's sake, Craig!" And then we're going away. I was like, "Who the fuck's that?" And he's like, "Castles in the Sky," and I was like, "Oh."
I know, yeah, totally.
Oh, I'll never forget that. It was so funny, so fucking.
But on at that same club, I still remember, like you're talking about DJ Kami. DJ Rankin was playing at
Oh
that club.
no!
Oh,
I was like, I had to play that night, and I was like, oh no, like what have I got into? Like I'm not, like I didn't want to be known like that either. Like I make my own stuff, like you know what I mean. I'm not nicking folks' tracks and saying they're nice.
I remember it, like when we were at school, we used to have diss tracks as well, right? And you'd be like, oh my god, look at that nose, look how big it fucking grows, fat bastard, fat, but yeah, mods. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, right, so basically somebody's just like, like almost taking this random words and it's just insults, right? So it's like that again, like it was like the diss tracks, right? And it was like no matter how long ago it was, someone would always make a diss track, and it's usually in that format because it's funny. Like, so it's kind of like it's just weird that there's like
I was in teenage years.
madness, man.
Oh, insane. I'm just going to move on from there, and it's something we've kind of recently started doing with the podcast, and it's not only touching on the positives, it's great. We're just talking about the highs and lows, because obviously you've been doing this for so long. It's obviously a struggle to get to the point where you are now, and you've put the work in. Especially, I've obviously recently looking at like listeners on Spotify, which is absolutely phenomenal. Congrats on doing such a good job. Is there any real points that have been high points for you? Real things you say, I fucking done this, or has there been some points that you've thought, I don't know if this is for me?
He was going to say that taking you to meet Ian Van Dahl as well.
See, to be honest, I mean, for any artist's dream, it's making it. You know what I mean? That doorway into this is it. You know what I mean? And that's what keeps me going. I've had to, you know what I mean? You've got to self-motivate the whole time. You know what I mean? And that can be quite hard, especially when you're getting knockbacks from labels and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, high points. It's kind of like the double-edged knife, because when I was 14, I got signed to a Japanese label called Masterworks Records, which they paid me for my track. They got this guy called Impact at the time to do the remix for the B-side or the A-side, and it was supposed to get released on vinyl. And I got my money, but he never ended up releasing it, and I was gutted, because I was like, I was wanting to be like Kevin on Kevin and Perry, you know what I mean? When he gets the record, he's like, "Can I feel it, Bobo?" You know what I mean? I've always wanted that, you know what I mean? So that's as well why like this is so special to me as well, because I'll be releasing this on vinyl. So yeah,
it would be cool to have something that you can like hold in your hands and say, "This is mine. This is me." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I miss that from playing on vinyl, because every single LP, every single in that, it had a tangible memory to it. You remember when you bought it at the time your life and everything. You know what I mean? Even when you played it out and stuff, and it's always got a memory. Whereas a file that you download just doesn't have it. It doesn't cut it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's something. It tells a story. A vinyl. A file doesn't. A file's a file. Anything.
I downloaded that song for 99 pence on the 27th of January.
I know what you mean. No, it's what I would say is, mate, it's totally commendable time that you've put in, not being cheesy with the whole or brand, but the time that you've put in to get to where you are now, absolutely. It's not an easy feat. We talked about in our 25th episode about highs and lows. I think one of the best things that you've done recently, the brand for you, massive, and it just fits. And for me, there's nothing cooler than having a brand saying, that was fucking me, that's mine. And I think moving from Urban Atmosphere, which could be seen as maybe a bit more generic as a sort of brand, Valhalla is cool. Like, that is really cool and really relatable. And it's Urban Atmosphere is not, in my opinion, it's not you, it's not James, but Valhalla. The connections are there straight away. Do you know what I mean, with the whole Norwegian idea? So I think that's been really commendable. I think that's cool.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. I mean, the good point as well. I mean, all those like the big gigs and stuff. You always feel it's like you're chasing that dream. You know what I mean? So it's like the BCM gig and everything, and like Liquid. When I was doing Liquid Rooms as well, it was like there was a lot of gigs back then. There was like Gus was putting on the boat parties on the 4th. You know what I mean? And that was packed. Every single one was packed, and like it was going underneath the Forth Road Bridge and everything. Got the scenery, just special. You know what I mean? So it was a really, really special time for gigs and stuff. But yeah, it's the roller coaster of an artist.
I think it'll be interesting when it comes back, because I can imagine that like the kind of clubs and kind of things that maybe wouldn't have been going on, I think there'll be an initial boom, and it's just like, I wonder will that be kind of kept going, because it'll be interesting, because I think there'll be a lot of people who might take advantage of that boom and manage to kind of get themselves out there a wee bit, which will be good, and then kind of go for there, because I think that's like something that a lot of people forget is that like the music industry's suffering, and it's you know, kind of not great at all at the moment. But when it does come back to normalcy, and when it gets, you know, kind of back on its feet, that initial boom is something that everybody, any musician, should be trying to capitalize on, because people are going to want to go. They're going to want to go on the kind of boats on the 4th if they're there. They're going to want to go to the Liquid Rooms and all these different other places and have a night out. So I think it'll be really cool, and it'll be good, because you'll see the people that are trying to make those kind of moves already, because obviously we're kind of, you know, vaccine and what's happening. So
I mean, I think that's what's getting a lot of people going, like, through this whole pandemic and stuff, is like that day where we'll be free again to dance with each other, to hug each other, to be like, you know what I mean? It's going to be, yeah, like you say, a boom. Like I felt as well, like even local gigs and stuff, like pre-COVID, some of them were suffering, like weren't getting as many numbers and stuff. I think when it all kicks off again, it's going to be like sell out. I really do. You know what I mean? Everyone's itching to get out.
Couldn't agree more.
You know what I mean? I'm 100%. There'll be gigs left, right, and centre from myself.
How's
even in the middle of the trees?
I was going to say, how's COVID impacted you, James? Because obviously I've seen you've done some live streams, kind of moved to the Twitch format similar to ourselves. How has it impacted you, and how have you adapted around it?
Well, it's funny that, because like I'd always thought about live streaming, but it wasn't DJ sets I was thinking of. It's like producing a track live from start to finish, you know what I mean? Getting folk tuned in and seeing how I do it. That sort of thing. Or even doing little tutorials and all that sort of caper. But like, I didn't expect, it kind of fast forwarded me into the live stream community, because it was like, that happened and I was like, right, I need to get a camera. And then I just delved into YouTube, learning about OBS, you know what I mean? All the sort of workings in about that. And I think I've got it sussed, or at least to a certain degree, you know what I mean? So I could at least get my music out there, entertain people, whilst sort of having a bit of banter between me and them as well. So there's more of a connection there where you actually wouldn't have at a normal gig.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like focusing like, oh, it's just an amazing track or whatever, but I mean, you can read a crowd for how they're dancing, but they're not talking to you. You know what I mean? It is a different way, but it's been a good learning curve. I've enjoyed it, and I've got a good response so far.
Good
So
man.
I'm really
Could just,
pleased.
That's not similar to us, but hey ho.
this is a quick side question, right?
Yeah.
What's the weirdest song request you've ever received? Because I feel like someday just to be wide, it's like quite on. All right, mate, can you play "Islands in the Stream" by Dolly Parton?
Hey. Oh man, request wise, I mean, I remember doing like an actual dance event, and a lassie come up asking for like Paolo Nutini or something, and I was like, do you know where you are? Like,
are you lost?
I didn't mean to be rude, but like, it's a rave. I'm just gonna Jerry Cinnamon as well. Like, I love Jerry Cinnamon, but like, someone was asking for that in the middle of a rave, I'm like.
It's one of the ones. It would be really funny if you were just to be like, "I hold on the new," and just completely paused it, and then just whapped on last request, and you're like, slow down, and you're like, and then everybody's just like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "This is a request for this lassie with the neon bra in the front."
So did to her.
Oh, fuck's sake. I've only got one more question, and I'll pass over to Bundy for the usual time-in podcast question.
Yes.
What's the next stage? I know that's difficult with the whole COVID, but have you got any sort of initial aspirations, goals, things you're working on?
Yeah, well, my next release, Dust, that's out on the 28th of December on Beatport only for 2 weeks, and then everywhere else on the 11th of January next year. So that's the following release. At the moment, I'm getting pre-orders in for the vinyl version of the album. Anyone who pre-orders as well gets an early copy of the digital version as well. And I've got another live stream on the 15th of January, which I'll be using to sort of promote that release and connect with the audience.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant, that answers all my questions.
Funny that it's the 11th of January.
Next year we're supposed to be getting back to normal around summertime, maybe. So if that happens, that will be full-on gigs. And that's hopefully what's going to be happening.
Touch wood.
It's funny that you said the 11th of January there, because that is a co-host's birthday, and then me and you have the same birthday.
Yeah.
Found that via Spotify.
There you go, birthday brother.
25th of February, the day this great things are happening.
Hey.
Bundy.
But so final question, and usually I would have told you at the start to get and prepare, but I actually didn't want to tell you because I thought it would be funnier to just to have your like raw impressions. But you're going to the pub, and you can take 3 people with you, dead or alive, anyone in history at all. Who do you take?
First and foremost, Lewis Capaldi. Fucking right, by the way.
Well, this is a funny story. I can't disclose too much, but Bundy stays. You want to say Bundy?
Nearby-ish.
Very near.
Can you stop for the coffee?
Anyway, sorry.
No, but Lewis Capaldi for sure. I mean, he's fucking hilarious. The banter would be spot on, definitely. Go for someone that's no alive. Robbie Williams. Not Robbie Williams. Robin Williams.
No way. I am retiring for the podcast.
Robin Williams.
This is insane. How many is that now, Bundy?
6.
What?
People have said, and then when we do our
Robin
streamer
Williams.
feature, we always ask the question, if you could have anyone in your stream dead or alive, who would it be? And then there's been over 5 people that have chose Robin Williams in that as well.
Mad.
I know.
That's crazy. Just showed how much of an impact he made, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Last, Liam Gallagher, though.
Oh.
That would be a night to remember, eh? Like, that could be wild.
I feel like Liam Gallagher could end up fighting with Robin Williams.
I just see him there and drink his pint.
Aye.
He'll be like, you know my mate Valhalla? Fucking Viking. fucking start on me again. Yeah, no, I think that'd be quite interesting.
Oh, awesome! Some good choices there. But do you want to give a final plug, James, where people can find you? Best areas to find your music, etc. as well.
Yeah, so you can get me on Facebook at Valhalla Techno, Instagram Valhalla 365, I think. Same with the socials for Groove Shack Records, just at Groove Shack Records on Instagram and Facebook, and the website www.grooveshackrecords.com.
Spicy.
That's it.
Awesome.
Spicy.
Well, that's everything from me, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Smashing guest. Bundy, anything from you?
I fully expect a Fenrir's Howl or Fenrir's Roar record coming soon.
I'll take that on board, man. I'll take that on board.
Thanks. And then
I'm sure I could fit that in the next release. Like
when you're at when you're like, do you know what I mean, when you think to yourself, oh, I can't believe now that I'm in this LA rooftop apartment and I've made it as a DJ. I mean, this one guy on a podcast told me that my prop shoot, I should be in a longboat. So can I have that? And then you'll be standing there, and I'll see it on telly and go, yes.
Going on the wrong boat, like.
Oh,
Definitely.
cheers
for us on. Really appreciate it.
No,
it's been good speeches.
I'm sure it won't be the last, mate. We've had a good retention with the people that we've had on, so it'd be good to maybe work on some stuff together in the future. But but this has been episode 29 of the Time In podcast, and thank you for listening.